Hello my dear Gemini, this is your love and spirituality reading for the time between March 1st and March 15, 2018 with me, Queen of Cups Tarot. I have put the astrological information for the month of March in a video of its own that you can check out in my playlist Q&A. You can also find it at my webpage www.queenofcupstarot.se, where you can also find and buy all the decks I'm using in this video. So, today I used the Modern Spellcaster's Tarot by Melanie Marquise and illustrated by Scott Murphy. And I will start shuffling your cards. So we see here, when I open the deck, we see the moon's different phases, and we see a person wearing a monk's robe, a black monk's robe, and it's the Hermit number 9 and 8 of Cups. So it seems like Gemini is in a little bit of lonely mood. You might feel a sting of sadness because something didn't work out the way you wanted them to. It might be that you have given up a little bit and think that, okay, I need to spend the rest of my life alone, or there's no idea, the thing that you worked so hard for, it's all spilled once more, because the 8 is an eternity symbol, so it's something that has gone on for you over and over and over again. But with the Hermit here, we see that the answer to why this is happening and what you can do about it, it's inside yourself. And we see the candle that he's holding, it's the I in I am. It's your soul. It's this light of attention that you can put to whatever you want to put intention to. If you put it inside yourself, you will heal. If you put it towards a goal on the outside, you will probably reach it eventually. We can also see there's trees here in both these pictures. So trees are also about ancestors and past lives. The roots go deep down in the soil of where our ancestors lived. So it might be that you're remembering with your emotions your past lives, and also that feelings that you have might not really be your own. It can be a cellular memory of something. For example, we can feel over emotional in certain situations, and it's actually tied to something our ancestor has lived through, and it has nothing to do with us. So for example, your wife is going to leave for a trip and you feel super anxious because someone in your ancestry line lost a wife or a husband when they were going to a trip. So you don't know why you are so anxious, but it's a memory. Okay, so my dear Gemini, I call the divine with love and light. And here we have the 8 of Wands together with the Hermit, so another 8. 8 of Wands, it shows that it comes in a lot of energy through the gates of time for you. Usually it's Uranus energy, but I'm thinking it can be this energy from the past wants to be seen by you, because you see this is sun ray, it's light, it wants, and this is he's holding a light there. So it's some information that comes to you, maybe by spirits, because this bird here is a representative of the spirits. So I'm thinking you are being reached by some energy, and it might be really heavy, it might be sad, but it's very healthy. Okay, so I call the 4 archangels in the 4 corners of the world, and here we have a Knight of Swords. So it's very rushing energy here, both with 8 of Wands and the Knight of Swords. So it might be that you feel very impatient, you feel very restless. This is you, Gemini. You might feel being on the warrior path a little bit. Maybe you're bitter about what people have done to you, or how they have drained you of energy, or left you, or abandoned you, or tried to overwhelm you, or steal your stuff, or whatever has been going on. So with the Knight of Swords and this hasty energy, I'm thinking you are going to be able to process this rather quickly. Knight of Swords holds the Ace of Swords in his hand, and you also have the 8 of Wands. So it might be that you can come out as a little rough also, that it's like my way or the highway. All knights are like this, and Gemini is connected to the Knight of Swords. And it can be also a quarrel going on inside of you, like in your head. So why did you do that to me? Well, I couldn't do it in any other way. You forced me because this and this and that and that. So this is going on in your head, back and forth quarreling. It's usually very, it's useful information, even if it's stupid. So it's useful. So try to write it down. And we see that there's some keys that has been dropped here. So they might hold the keys, this quarreling inside your head. It might be like angel radio. It's telling you things. It's making you see things from an above perspective. Even if you might imagine a person being in a way that they currently aren't, but at least you know where you stand. You can't really see where another person they point off, like where they stand, because with the Knight of Swords it's usually that jumping into conclusion, because you're smart, so sometimes you can believe that you know what the other person will be thinking, but when you quarrel in your head, you will know what you are thinking and what's your truth, and that's very important keys. You see the keys there. Okay, so I call the 6 elements: earth, wind, fire, water, Knight of Wands, spirit, and ether to join us here today and to give us a clear view reading for my dear Gemini viewers. And we have a little Page of Pentacles here as well. So the 8 of Wands is Sagittarius, Knight of Wands is Sagittarius, Page of Pentacles is the seed, like who you were when you came, like with the Hermit, it's Virgo. So you might be involved with a Sagittarius, Virgo, also water person, since you have the 8 of Cups, or another air sign. But what I'm seeing mostly is rushing energy, being very quick, like something wants to be solved quickly, but you're going to have a lot of information, and this information might be very sad when it comes, like you feel very sad by it and maybe struck into the ground, but you're actually going to find the seed to your true self in there. So it's even follow down the rabbit hole, even if it feels sad, even if it feels overwhelming, even if it makes you lose all hope, still follow it, because it will have some keys for you. Okay, so I call all this because I want my dear Gemini to have love in their lives and to find themselves in loving relationships. I also want you to have creative success and to be able to walk on your highest path towards your highest destiny. So for my dear Gemini, first half of March 2018. So my dear Gemini, I will just tune into you and your energy for a few seconds. Okay, so my dear Gemini, this is your future. Second part of March going into April. This is your now, the first half of March 2018. This is your past, probably February, might sometimes be your whole life as well. And we have the star card here, so it's connected to Aquarius, and it's also connected to your spiritual development, like riding with dragons. And we saw a lot of dragon riding. The Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands is very youthful male energy, like a hero or someone that has a mission. And the mission was, of course, the Page of Coins, to find out who you are. And it's connected back to the Hermit. Who are you? What do you feel? What do you want? What's happening inside of you? What do your heart feel? Can you feel love? And here you have the star card. So the star card is your connection to everything that is, and back to your soul roots as well. Hopefully at least you can feel love towards this this energy. And we have here this watery energy. So it's 2 cups here, or 2 chalices with water. So it's also talking about soulmates, connection, and importance of relationships. So it's a beautiful card about hope and adventure as well. This is a rather long forecast, so you might need to watch this now as a forecast, and then you can watch again in the beginning of March to know what's going to happen next, because sometimes we don't recognize the situation before we are there. And you can also check it afterwards to see where you to see what really happened, and kind of make closure. So here you have a Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is a truth teller. It's someone being very well connected with the divine and having clear thoughts about things, and it's like the latest download when it comes to thoughts. So you probably are very connected with the divine right now, and also the quarrels in your head are important messages. Sometimes we can think about things when we are cooking dinner or driving our car. So if you're driving your car and thinking about these things or something that you're trying to sort out in your mind, you might want to stop and maybe talk it into your mobile phone or write it down, so you can remember this, and then you can leave it be, so you don't have to think and think and think all the time, because the Page of Swords has a downside, and it's those pure thoughts. It can become like an addiction where you never stop thinking. You just think and think and think, and you get a little high on it. So you want to think and kind of have a conclusion, write it down, lay it aside, feel your body. Because your body is your temple. That's why your eye is supposed to rest. It's not supposed to think and think and think all the time. It might be that you're also thinking about another person and sensing a little bit of bitterness, like you're not liking their choices, or that they don't want the same thing that you want, or they're not working towards the same goal, and they're not helpful, they're not putting the energy in. So you feel that you need to stand up for yourself and maybe tell them a truthful word or two. Okay, and this is going into the future. So Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles, it means healthy compromises, that we are right, the other person is also right. We are seeing things from different perspective, and we need to compromise. And if a person isn't ready to compromise, or isn't ready to help you, or do the work together with you, you need to either wait till they will be ready and not do their part until then, because it's just spoiling them. Or you need to sever your ties and walk away. So you have those choices. We can also put demands on people and tell, this is my part, this is what I will do, and this is what I leave up to you. And if they don't do it, you know that they are not valuing your relationship or your situation high enough. So with the Six of Pentacles, you're asked to check with your relationships and situations if they are fair. Are you giving too much? Then you're over-functioning. You're not leaving room for other people to function. So you're spoiling them and making them not feel good about themselves because they are not accomplishing anything. And you are the one that can feel like goody good here, with this being this unconditional green person with a lot of abundance. And it can also be that you're doing too little and need to do more, to take more responsibility and step up the game and start becoming your true self, and not hiding in the corner and thinking that whatever you do won't be good enough. It's always good enough if you're acting from your own inner core, like the Page of Coins, what we saw. Okay, so this is your past, Gemini. And we have the Seven of Cups. It came for both Cancer and Virgo. For Cancer it came here, Virgo here, you here. So you're a little bit before these other two signs with digging in this. And it's the primordial swamp. So it's here, all your memories are kind of laying and digesting. So whenever you have done something, you have worked really hard on something and it's not working, then you kind of boomerang back to this Seven of Cups. And this is a place where you feel, okay, here we go again. This is now I'm back here. I have struggled so much to get out of here, but now I'm back here and it feels awful. Why you are back here is because you have forgotten something important here, probably the keys. Okay, you try to get out of some situation, but really you are supposed to digest it and find out what it's all about, what was the reason behind all the things that happened. And so if you have this information, you can change your future, but by not doing the same thing again that led to whatever like end game that you really didn't want. Okay, so the Seven of Cups is like the moon, first but in minor arcana. So it's like illusions, not really knowing yourself, not really knowing the other person's projections. Also, when you're crawling with them in your head, you're projecting like a lot of your own feelings and hopes and dreams and sadness upon this other person, and they are not really aware. Sometimes you can see this with certain people. They can start a quarrel with you, and they can tell you how they feel, they can tell how you feel, and they can tell what's going to happen, and all those things. And you don't really need to, you know, invest that much in that quarrel, because they won't listen to you, because they are in a projection. They are not quarreling with you, they are quarreling with some of their early family members, or a previous lover, or a teacher from school, or their the friend that they once lost, or whatever it is. So when you are in those situations, you can feel very hopeless because the person can't hear you. And with the Knight of Swords and this, what you had, it might be you, Gemini, that you can't hear the other person. You just hear yourself, and you see what you have always seen, because you need to, you know, snap out of it and live in the reality and start to ask questions instead of putting brands on people's foreheads. So you might need to start to ask, like, so why is this happening from your point of view? Can you describe to me? And then when they tell you, you say, okay, is this correct? Have I understand this correct? Is this how you feel? And they will say yes, or they will say no, and explain a little further. So try to listen more than you speak. Try to listen more than you figure it out for yourself. And trust a person with what they say, but also with their actions, because their action is sometimes more telling than what their words say. And here we come into projections again, because sometimes you can read into a person's action something that you are projecting. So you need to start all over, asking about their action. So what's the reason to your actions today? Why did you do this exact thing? What happened? What did you feel in that moment? So you ask and listen and learn, because you need the keys. Okay, you need the keys to understand, to take you out of here, so you don't have to come back and end up in this primordial swamp over and over. Okay, so next card here is the Knight of Wands. So some of you might be dealing with the Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries person, but this might also be you, always having the energy to try new different things, try it from another perspective, being the spiritual warrior, the dragon rider, or the rainbow warrior that wants to fix it, wants to shed light on the situation, wants to see it from above. The Knight of Wands can sometimes be a flaky person that comes in and out of love very quickly, because they can't stick to any one thing. They always think that behind the next door will lie their magical future. So if you are with a person like this, it can be very hard, because they don't value the things they have. They value the things that they will have in like a future that they dream of. So also projections, like some illusionary future that's not even there, but they are very good creators in that way. They can create new things all the time, but they have a little bit hard time staying with that new thing and nourishing it into full bloom. So it can be a lot of abandoned projections after a Knight of Wands, like a lot of things that they started but could never finish, because then they are up to something else. And these are seed bringers. They are putting seeds everywhere, so they might make you start longing for a real love when they have swooped through your life like whew, So that's ignition. It's a seed that you planted. They're not going to stay with you because they have more seeds to plant, but they are making you feel like you long for love. Or it might be that they come with an idea to an enterprise or something like that, or some new teaching. For example, they can come with a totally new teaching, like spiritual teaching, and you think, oh God, this is the thing. And when you ask them a month later, they are already onto something new. So you can write a book about this. They have already forgotten about it. Okay. Okay. Fixing. Yes, every tarot reader are like this with their cards. It needs to be everything in order. Okay, and here we have the Fool. So that's definitely someone that just leaves their coat behind and skippity-skip into the future. They don't remember anything about their past. They're just very future-oriented and want to experience a lot of things, and they want to feel the summer breeze in their face and have new happy social encounters. So it's also a person being very brave here with these two cards. They don't put themselves like in a secure situation. They're always like on the move, on the run, and they don't need collect things to make them feel safe. So that's rather nice with this kind of energy, and they're always ready to experience something new. So they're usually very hasty. We could see that with the Star card, that we have one person here being very hasty back to the source. It's just like whoosh, and they are there. And this other person, they take a detour. They really feel the soil between their hands, and they nourish the flowers on their way. They take the detour, really living experience to the bottom, like really staying in a marriage like for 40 years and being loyal to that. So they are doing like a deep penetrating work in the experience of earth, while this person is just like whooshing through, just spreading seeds and putting in new ignition into a situation. But they don't stay with you for 40 years. They are just here and they are gone tomorrow. Okay, so next card, and that's a Queen of Pentacles. So that's usually Virgo. It can be a Taurus or a Capricorn person as well. Queen of Pentacles is homey, stable. She stays put. She doesn't go anywhere. It's a wife. It's a teacher. It's a mother. She's an excellent lover as well. She's like this Garden of Eden. She has a lot of resources. And when a person like this hits a situation like this, they want to have it all. It's like finding a beautiful castle abandoned in a forest, and it's full of gold and glory. So they are taking all that in, and they are having parties and festivities in that castle. They might make it their own, but they might also, some got tired of this castle. They have emptied all the resources, and they are moving on to something else. To find another castle in the forest, and the castle will stand there empty and desolated, with all their riches being gone. So you need to decide who you are here. Are you going to let someone take your riches, or are you always thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, and never being able to stay put and follow through with something? And we can see the Death here. It also came for Virgo, so it might be that you're involved with a Virgo person, or that you have Virgo somewhere in your chart. Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus, or the big planets, or whatever. So Death card is connected to Scorpio. It's transformation, big transformation. So it seems like this this tension between these two entities, like the one that nourished the soil and are really living in an earthly experience, and the one that just whooshes through, the tension has started to become rather intense when we have the Death card there. It's like it's tearing these two people apart. Maybe not so much the person that just moves along, not until they end up old, and their legs doesn't carry for adventures anymore, or their looks doesn't appeal to the young lovers anymore. Then they might reminisce about the Queen of Pentacles that they once left behind, but then it's too late. But it's like a experience that they will take with them to another lifetime. So we have the doorway here of death, and I'm thinking that for the Knight of Wands, it's easy to die. They die every day to different things. They just leave it behind like this. New deaths and new lives. It's like they are recycling through their lifetimes very, very quick. For the Queen of Pentacles, it's harder. Her castle will stand there for eons and just withering away. So it's a slow death. It's like the death of an oak tree. It lives for 300 years and dies for 300 years, being the habitat of a rich nature. Okay, it can be like thousands different species in one single oak tree. And the Virgo is like this oak tree, slowly dying for a long time. So they are holding the memory. It's like the Akasha Chronicles. So this person is really holding like the deep down experience of it all, the dreams, the nightmares, the secrets. This one just ignites them. They never get like a really deep experience of anything. They just get like they tap into the Akasha Chronicles, lift up knowledge and like shine it in their own face, and they go on and move to something else. So it's for these more earthy creatures to expand the ideas of this rainbow warrior, this hasty person. So someone else needs to do the work, okay, and the transformation to transform the small sprinkles of gold into something new, and also maybe growing things. Death can be growth as well. If you go into an ancient forest, you can see where the big logs have fallen, that small species of different kind, also the same species as the tree once were, grows there in the light, that in the like the glimpse of light that comes through the trees when a big log has fallen. So new can grow there. So it's like a beautiful cooperation, but the tension between these two entities is feeling like sadness. But the person that comes and ignites is not supposed to stay there forever. The person that gets the ignition is supposed to digest this like a cow for a very long time and get the deep knowledge. It's like two different spiritual beings with two different missions, okay? The one that's the earthbound person that's supposed to do the real deep diving and the things that will, be written in the Akasha Chronicles, they might feel unjustly treated, and this person, they don't even remember, okay? So it can be a little bit unjust. So that was the past, the kind of the layout of the story. It's like a fairy tale. It's like an ancient legend, what I'm seeing. And here we have the King of Swords. So the King of Swords comes underneath the Seven of Cups. So I think Gemini here is ruling an ancient kingdom of sadness and sorrow. Here, King of Swords. And you have the Page of Swords here also in the bottom. So you might be bitter on either the person that's just coming in and out of your life and leaves sadness and longing behind, or you might be bitter and angry a little bit on the person that wants you to stay, wants to hold you down, wants to make you an earthbound creature like them. The King of Swords is kind of a fallen archangel. You have Aquarius Day, it's Aquarius Day also, so it's probably you, Gemini. And we are talking about air. Here we also have the Ace of Swords underneath there. Fallen archangels. They were helping human beings, earthbound creatures, to do the task on Earth, but they got a little bit smug and thinking like they are stupid, they are low life, they don't understand a thing. Source decided that, well, you need to have more life experience so you can be you can grow also from the state of being an archangel. So you will kind of drop down like this. And now either you have become like an earthbound creature, maybe really doing your job, or you just long to come home again, and you just sprinkles through lives like this. And I think the one that becomes earthbound is actually doing the work a little bit deeper, but you can't really value this, because the one that sprinkles is like like a bird traveling from place to place and spreading seeds, so making life more abundant for the earthbound. So we can't really judge here, but it's like the divine wants you to consider your options of either being a sprinkle of seeds or being the earthbound growing tree. So it's a little bit up to you, I'm feeling. What kind of life experience do you want? And what is your mission? What were you supposed to do here? Well, usually we are supposed to learn from the other also. Maybe the earthbound needs to learn to be more adventurous, and the adventurous person needs to be more earthbound. So what's left for you to learn in this situation? What's the key to the solutions to the problems that you experience because of the person that you are today? So is there any key there that you can use from this other entity that's not like you? Do they hold some answers to the primordial swamp that you always feel yourself to be in? And here we have a Queen of Swords. So this is really the royal couple. Queen of Swords, King of Swords. This is usually Libra and this is usually Aquarius. But of course, it probably you, Gemini, and maybe a person, an air person on the outside might be. So these two entities is I feel it's the royal couple living in the castle. I don't know how long they're going to stay there, and if one is going to stay and the other one is going to depart, because it looks like the King of Swords here has the Seven of Cups above his head, and the Queen of Swords has the Knight of Wands above her head. So it's not really saying if he needs to experience like the loss of someone because he haven't done that before, and she needs to learn more adventure, or if it's the other way around. Maybe she is the adventurous one already, and he is the one that always end up sad and lonely. Okay, so the next card is the Hermit. So here we have Virgo again. We have Virgo there, Virgo there. So the Hermit is what I said when I shuffled the cards. It's the one that writes in the Akashic Chronicles, okay? The one that writes down your story. It's you. It's your I. It's your soul living a life as a human. And then the experience of it all is the most important, to get the knowledge out of the situation. And he's spreading keys here. So you might be like a seed bringer to other people, spreading keys to them, but not really maybe getting it on the depths yourself. Okay. This might, of course, also be a situation with a family, for example, because we have a young, adventurous person here, and maybe a more mother figure there with that wants to take this younger entity in the ear and, you know, rubbing his face in the dirt there, so he can see more clearly what his action has, what the kind of consequences they are. So she wants him to experience life fully, and I feel she's rather strict, but she's also a little bit sad. These couple might be elderly grandparents. It might be you and a lover of yours. And this might be like a spiritual teacher in your life, or an energy that comes to you, or you, when you're going deep inside and finding all these roles that you have been playing, also in your different lifetimes. It might also be another complex situation, maybe with third-party relationship, where one is a little bit more, they can't stay with like one thing. They might go outside a marriage to find other castles or green pastures. Okay. And here we have the Five of Pentacles. So this Queen of Pentacles, she feels left out in the cold. She feels like her castle was made to a big party, and now the halls is echoing very empty. And we have had this card a lot lately. So I think people are starting to get the consequences of what's being done to them or what they are doing to other people. And it's a good thing because it's one of those keys. You can also see that there's a lock there. It's some kind of door that you are not allowed to enter, or it's something you want, but the dream cannot come into fulfillment because you need one of those keys. And the only way to get these keys is to listen to your inner wisdom and see what's inside, and not shy away even for the most, dark fantasies about your life. You're not supposed to wallow in them, but sometimes when we have like a little bit of a nervous breakdown, we need to just acknowledge what it is that we fear. I will never be loved. I will never have a career. I will never have enough money. I will never get a child. I will never be a part of a family. It can be, I will never travel the world. It can be a lot of things. And you just need to realize what it is that hurts you so bad in your core. So you know what it is that your soul wants to accomplish. Okay, it wants to be loved. It wants to have a family. It wants to travel the world. It wants to be rich. It wants to have a career. So it's an experience that you're longing for and you want to have, but it seems to always elude you. And that might be partly because you can't keep your hopes up when you are being challenged, and you might give up, or you might stay and just be sad about something for eons to come. And sometimes that's the thing that you need to do. Sometimes it's the thing you fall back to again and again. If we have loved and lost, for example, it might be really hard to put someone else in that person's place. It might be like almost impossible also sometimes. And then we need to recognize for ourselves that this is how we feel. We have tried and tried and tried and it's impossible. Or we have tried to get a career and it feels impossible. Of course, it's your pattern here. This is your pattern. Another person would have another pattern. One can it's very easy for them to get money, but they can never keep a relationship. And for another person, it's easy for them to get a relationship, but they can never keep money. So it's your unique experience from how you use your different keys, how you use your knowledge. And sometimes you have like a track that you run in the same track all the time. You don't take any new, you don't do any new routines. So, and then you're sad when your dreams end in nothingness again. But it's, of course it does. You just follow the familiar routine round and round and round, instead of trying new things, seeing things from different perspective, meeting another type of person. You might be very drawn to a specific type of person, and this person is not good for you, but you're always ending up with the same troubled lover kind of thing. And that's what feels familiar. So you feel like, oh, we are destined to be. It feels so good. But really, it's just familiar. And it's not that good. So you need to look at your life very clearly here. What is making you feel like out in the cold? And here we have the Hangman also. This is an interesting card because the tree is actually growing like this. So the person is hanging against gravity. Very interesting. And with the stray jacket also. It almost look also a little bit like these Iron Maidens. So, and we have the runes here, the spells, the letters that we spell with. And for our ancestors, they held magic. For us today, they are ordinary. But for people then, it was magic. It was like finding language within your own emotions. If you could do that today and know the language of your emotions fully, now it's just like sounds and frequencies all blurred up inside of you because mostly you have run away from them, and now you might need to start to learn this language. What's going on really inside of you? What is it that you are running so hard from, or what is it that you're always trying to avoid but you end up in the same place? So it's a new kind of spell. You need to learn to understand yourself, the Hermit, what's making you feel like you are failing, what is making you feel like you're never being able to get yourself out of this place. I want to get out of this place if it's the last thing I ever do. So that's a song. I will put it in the description box for you. Okay, and so you need to find this out. You need to find out where you are having your patterns. You're doing the same spell over and over again. You want a different result, but you just have the same result over and over again. And it's the Page of Swords. So great efforts for trying. I give you 5 points, but you need to try something new. And it's truth here. You have Page of Swords. This is like a whole court of swords people. So it's the page, the ones that comes with messages and new ignition. It's the King of Swords, the judge, that sees things from above. It's a Queen of Swords. She sees things from every person's different perspective and the justice for each and every one. So it's like a court, but it can also be a situation where you are educated. We can see this is, when I read for people that, for example, is about to take PhD, they usually have like this Page of Swords, Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords, King of Swords, so we can see that they are in this, they are finishing their course. Okay, and here you have the Hangman. That's also school. It's the school of life. It's like a maturity ritual, what we go through in different times of our lives. 3-year-old, 6-year-old, 12 years old, 18 years old, 21, 33, or so on. We go through different maturity stages, and this is one maturity stage that you're going through now, and it's like school, and where you're going to retrieve keys to the knowledge of how to make a beautiful future for yourself. So you really want this, okay? So don't skip class, okay? This is your future going into next part of Mars, and we have the Six of Swords. So you have acknowledged some truth or two about this primordial swamp, and you have picked up something there. It's a shrine, and you might need to use one of your keys on that. The shrine is some kind of thing that was buried here in the vastness of hopelessness. This is you found out the truth about why you are really here, what it is that you really want, what it is that's torment you so much. If you were lying in your deathbed today, what would you regret the most that you were never ever able to experience? This is probably what's inside that shrine, and this is why you're here. It's a challenge, so it won't be easy. It won't be easy coming to you, this what you want. You're going to have to work for it and study a lot to get to this knowledge here. Okay, next card, 7 of Swords. So 7 of Swords, 6 of Swords, 7 of Swords is counting upwards. But 7 of Swords is usually when, but it can be when you get the knowledge of a situation. You don't necessarily stay with that situation. You just understand that, okay, this was what I was supposed to learn from this, and I am grateful, but I'm not going to stay. So it might be like a relationship with a flaky person, and you understand why you were with this person, what you were supposed to learn, but you're not going to stay so they can make you bitter another day. So that might be one thing with the 7 of Swords. Another thing is sometimes we flee again from our responsibility. Like with the 7 of Cups, we flee from theirs because we want to experience happiness. We don't want to be sad. So we flee and then we are back again. And we flee and we are back again. So with the 7 of Swords, it can be you're trying to manage something. You're trying to do something that's honorable and reasonable and logic and fair. But you might fail because of something... maybe you can't hold up your boundaries, or maybe you can't be that honorable person that you wanted. So it's a little bit risk of going back to old patterns. With the 7, it's always like that. That's the challenge, to do one thing even though it feels bad. That is how we break patterns, to go against everything that feels right. Here, this person is going for the easy thing, not staying with the battle, but actually just leaving their comrades behind and taking their swords with them. But sometimes taking their swords with them is when you leave this situation that was not good for you, but you take your knowledge with you. You can see this on difficult situations that you have had in your life, specifically difficult people. They usually have teach you a lot of things. If you were if you wouldn't have ever met them, you would still be a stupid little young person that didn't know squat. So there's values also in very difficult encounters. Here we have the Judgment, so it suits well when we also have the Judge present. So it seems like it's a big court. I think you are solving some big karmic issue, this legend that has been going on for, you know, eons, with one person staying put and the other one never staying put. So it's the Judgment Day now, and the Divine wants to see if you have all done the work that you were supposed to, and if you have found the knowledge that you were supposed to find. So this is about stepping up to responsibility. When you go through the maturity phases, you also need to grow up. So this is the card about growing up, seeing things from above. And sometimes you will be like this, and then you will get it, and you will be like this, and then you will be like this again, regretting the day you were born, and then you will be like this again when you get it. Every time you get a key, you will be like, Eureka, I found it. And then you will fall down again and be like this, and trial by fire, cooking and boiling through time, and then you will be like, Eureka, I got it. So this is the process. We need to live and experience the actual thing of it all. We come here ignorant, like this person that haven't experienced ever anything, didn't meet any challenges. And then they did, and they digested it with the Hermit here. And then they got it. Eureka, I have it. So it feels like someone has gotten it. But it's like they got it and then abandoned their original cause. So for example, if you wanted love, that's the most easiest thing to give an example on. If you wanted love and then, okay, now you got it, why you didn't get love, but you also abandoned the cause. You don't have it in you anymore to continue trying. So, but it's okay. It might be like this after we have gone through like a boot camp exercise like this. You might need to rest for a while before you can regroup and try again. But that can be the Seven of Swords here, that you kind of give up in the moment that you understand what the answer to your question was. And here we have the Four of Swords. So I'm thinking this is the moment when you digest and just you feel like life is miserable and whatever you do is not going to work, and you have this new idea but you don't have the energy to try it out. So Four of Swords can sometimes be silent treatment. It comes underneath the Five of Pentacles. So it might be a person that gave you everything, has pushed you out in the cold, not talking to you, or someone that you gave everything to has pushed you out and left you out in the cold. Or you might do this to someone. It can be in a variety of different scenarios here, but it's a silent treatment. And then suddenly we have a little Knight of Cups. So that's when you are ready to start your little Percival mission to find the Holy Grail again. And you are skippity-scoping here with this fish out from the waters. Eureka, I got it again. So it seems like you need to do your fair share of research, find out why did it become like this again, and maybe write PhD on it, whatever it was that happened here with this legend and the story with the people, like what became of them, what was the thing that they decided to do after they went away or they stayed alone in that castle, what happened next, and what do they still want, what are they longing for, and how do they feel abandoned, and then just like maturing from this, getting the knowledge out of it and finding out an answer so you can move on and continue with your mission without really the bitterness. And Six of Pentacles, so one key is probably that it needs to be two people. That helps when you are two in a relationship. It can't be just one wanting this. If you want something and another person doesn't want, you need to let it go with grace and hope that they will find someone someday that they will actually love for real. And if you haven't done the work, you haven't put in effort, and get your hands dirty in the soil and really watered and nurture the plant of your own life, then it's time to do this. Okay, so I will take a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle divination cards for you. Exchanging gifts. It seems nice. And you know what the gifts are already. The legend and how you need to learn from each other. So, and the Knight of Cups usually comes with gifts and forgiveness and things like this. The law of giving and receiving. 6 of Pentacles. Trade-offs, weighing cost and determining value. You're entering into a productive and enriching time when all manner of opportunities are being offered to you. You have everything you need to seize them, yet in order to honor them, change page, you must put in the time, exchange your experience and skills, and commit heart and soul to what you're choosing to pursue. You can do it. You have what it takes to be successful if you align with the law of giving and receiving. You must engage in a dance of give and take, push and pull, doing and being. If you let fear guide your choices, you could deplete yourself of or create an imbalance. This is not a time of just do. Use your currency wisely and be mindful of the value others bring to your life. Love is an exchange of life force energy between two beings. It grows exponentially when it's reciprocated. Okay, you must give and receive in order for love to flourish and abundance to flow between you. Spirit wants you to start accepting all the blessings waiting for you, as well as offer the same gifts in return. Open your heart and allow it to be filled. Let love in and let it flow out of you too. Love is truly yours. So, and be careful what you pray for, because you might just get it. Okay. So, and that was for the situation, and this is for your soul. Wild Kuan Yin Oracle for Gemini's soul. Okay. Blessing of the Kite Dancer. So it feels very like the Knight of Wands here. That kind of energy. And the Fool. Blessings of the Kite Dancer. It's number 29. Okay. I see your full potential, and I know that you are willing to develop into all that you can be. I will encourage and guide you. Sometimes I will evoke the best in you through opportunity, and sometimes I will coax forth the best in you through challenge. What you can be assured of is success on this path of self-development. Life has offered you much natural ability and talent. I will help you discover and develop it so that you can offer yourself back to life as a beautiful gift. Even the most impressive natural talent benefits from the guiding hand of a wise mentor. We saw a lot with education here. When a student shows particular promise, a teacher may place higher demands upon that student with the intention of drawing forth the talent within, realizing that additional work is needed or truly distill the student's potential. You have been gifted with a talent and ability. You may or may not be aware of it as yet, but the divine knows it is important for your success in this lifetime to develop it. So you have received a blessing from Kuan Yin. It is that your talent will be nurtured by the divine into its full expression. This is a great gift, to feel the satisfaction of developing your inner potential and expressing. It is profoundly satisfying and nourishing for your soul. So, you will go far in your spiritual growth and personal development this lifetime. And you will receive the assistance that you need to do this. So it seems very, very beautiful. And we have also a butterfly there. And you see things from and above, like with the Judgment card here. So I'm thinking you are going to start to see in all your misery here what it is that the divine wants you to see. And it's something that's really there all the time. You just didn't notice it or nurture it or understand that it was for you. It might be something that's really uniquely you, that's your trademark, but you have kind of denied it and denied it and denied it because it seemed to not give you what you wanted. And now you need to become that person, your true self. Okay. So my dear Gemini, I hope this helped. I want you to take really, really good care. And I welcome you back to my mid-month March reading that I will do in the beginning of March. Okay, bye-bye.